We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
Author Kurt Vonnegut once asked, "Who is to be pitied, a rioter bound and gagged by policemen, or one living in perfect freedom who has nothing more to say?" Now, that's an interesting question. It's one that we might just examine today on Liberty Nation Radio here on the Radio America Network. I'm your host, Mark Angelides. On today's edition, we talk the rise of Ron DeSantis, the fall of Lori Lightfoot, free speech under attack once again, and how the next generation is tending towards authoritarianism. I want to take a moment to say a special thank you to our listeners out in Hastings, Michigan on WBCH 1220 AM and 93.1 FM. Thank you for being here. Remember, this show is proudly sponsored by LibertyNation.com, where you can access podcasts, breaking news, analysis, and a range of biting and brilliant shows to whet your appetite for freedom and your fondness for the great American Constitution. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has stripped Disney of its special status, a move that some say is long overdue and others say is authoritarian. Either way, the move is certain to be political. We're very lucky to be joined by Liberty Nation's editor-in-chief, Lisa K. Donna, to get to the heart of the Sunshine State's Top Gun maneuvers. Thanks for being here, Lisa.
Hi, Mark. How are you?
I'm all right, and I believe at time of recording, the Sunshine State is suffering a real pea super.
Well, I happen to be in the Sunshine State, and it actually burned off, and now it is another beautiful sunny day. But wait 5 minutes, that just might change.
That's what we say about England. If you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes. So, Lisa, let's start with a very deceptively simple question, if we may. If Ron DeSantis were not the governor of Florida, would the world know or even be concerned with the Magic Kingdom's special status?
Well, I don't know. Maybe not. He has definitely put himself front and center of this culture war, and I think it is a culture war. And remember, if your side is on the side of culture, you're going to next take over the politics. So culture is very important.
Yeah, it really is true that politics is downstream from culture. Now, I don't know if you agree with me on this, but it seems to me that these actions of stripping Disney of the benefits it has, specifically with the Reedy Creek land, are the actions of someone who's determined to build national recognition. What's your take?
Well, that's interesting. I suppose you're right. I guess I see DeSantis more as a purist in this area. I mean, he has small kids. Some of the stuff that's been going on in Disney has really been upsetting parents. I don't think it's so much that DeSantis is the authoritarian here, is that Disney has become the authoritarian. For instance, they're doing a special gig with the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus. And the Gay Men's Chorus published a video in 2021 informing viewers that, quote, "we will convert your children quietly and subtly to LGBT ideology," and, quote, "you will barely notice it." I mean, that,
for something that's designed to be family fun, the very idea that any group with any ideology at all, regardless of whether it's the LGBT ideology or any other ideology, that they would aim to surreptitiously convert your children to any cause whatsoever, and the parents not being able to notice it. I mean, that's a problem for any ideology, isn't it? And yet Disney appears to have jumped wholeheartedly into bed with this particular group.
Well, again, I'm not sure that it's an appropriate topic for a children's entertainment company.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big question, isn't it?
And DeSantis has really gotten the better of them. I mean, he's punishing them big time. The Reedy Creek thing is gone. Their tax-exempt status is gone. He's now appointed the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District, and he gets to handpick them. And guess who he's picked?
Who's he picked?
Bridget Ziegler, a proponent of his education policies, Ron Perry, who heads the Christian Ministry Gathering USA, Michael Sasso, president of the Federalist Society's Orlando chapter, and on and on. He's really won this battle big time.
And how do Floridians feel about that? How do they feel about Disney losing these perks that it had to operate? Because I think it's highly unlikely that Disney will say, well, we're not going to stay in Florida anymore because, Florida's Florida, right? That's where its reputation was built. So how do Floridians feel about what he's done?
I mean, all you have to do is look at the last election.
Yeah.
Governor Ron DeSantis is exceedingly popular in the Sunshine State. I mean, that doesn't mean everybody's for him, but he's exceedingly popular. He had the biggest win of all in November. And so he's pushing forward with a lot of people behind him. And, Florida's an older state. A few more conservative, I think, values are popping up, especially when it comes to this kind of culture and pushing sexuality on small children.
Well, let's talk about this culture war as it is, as you term it. It really does seem to me that even if it weren't happening, as Barack Obama suggested, there's no such thing as the culture war. The mainstream media, let's call it the legacy media or the activist media, for that's what it really is. It is trying to create it. I mean, it was the activist media that ran with, this is the Don't Say Gay bill, even though the words "don't say gay" were never in the bill. And it was across the headlines. And people are using that same term to describe DeSantis policies still today, months after it's been debunked.
Look, my reading on this is that it's not that people are against other people's sexual preferences. It's that they don't want those other folks' sexual preferences put upon their children. They feel like they are the parent and they want to instruct the child in their values. And, that's the traditional look at parenthood. That's a view of parenthood, I should say.
I mean, the idea that the parents shouldn't be in control of educating their children with values that they share. I mean, that really gets to the heart of the idea. And I can't help thinking back to the old Marxist philosophy of, you've got to separate the child from the family so they can become a good communist. I mean, maybe I'm going a little too overboard in that, but this is what it seems like to me. Anything, and the LGBTQ stuff, or anything that tries to separate the children's morality from the parents and the parents' values that they wish to instill in their child, that smacks of communism, doesn't it? Or am I going too far with this?
No, I think there is some element of that in it, Mark. Traditionally, parents have had the opportunity, the right, and frankly, the responsibility to school their kids in their values. So let's say you grow up in a Christian home, you take your kid to Sunday school, you bring them up in your Christian values. Let's say you are an Orthodox Jewish person. You take your child to temple, maybe to Hebrew school, that sort of thing. So, this is that, to me, that's the ultimate melting pot. I mean, where people get an opportunity to intersect with others that are brought up in a way that is traditional to their family.
It strikes me as funny that nobody on and let's be fair, most of this is coming from the political left, that nobody on the political left is saying that, we should stop Muslim children from going to mosques because there's a dangerous inculcation of their parents' beliefs, and it's brainwashing them into their parents' beliefs, where they're quite happy to say that about Christians. Yeah,
I do want to bring up that Christians and traditional family values have been bolstered by the Muslim community.
Very much so.
In Michigan, they're not the Muslim community is not hep to all this, indoctrinating your child at a young age.
Yeah, it seems like there's an immovable object and an irresistible force about to approach when it comes to the ideology that's being pushed on children through these woke corporations. Lisa, final word for you. Does what DeSantis has done in Florida bolster his potential presidential hopes?
In a nutshell, Mark, yes.
And there you have it. We'll be back with Lisa K. Donner after this short break, talking Lori Lightfoot. Don't go anywhere.
We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides. Entertaining, informative, and just plain fun. Watch Liberty Nation's The Conservative Five. Produced by conservatives for conservatives. C5's The Left Free Zone. Hosted by Liberty Nation's Lisa K. Donner. Joined by a raucous, irreverent panel of authors. Deconstructing leftist narratives. Debating the hot topics. And remembering to laugh. Join the official conservative safe
You only
space.
did that to piss Jeff off.
Liberty Nation's The Conservative Five.